Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio. That is Eric somewhere, either above me or below me or next to me. And that is Vanessa, also in that general area.
Hello.
I was like, good. I'm glad you guys are talking.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I'll
We're
say
here.
hello, too, since I just waved.
I know it's true. I pointed. That's right. It's the radio.
Yes. And I am Kelly. We're doing this on Labor Day weekend, so we did a Zoom thing. I don't know about you guys. Anybody do anything fun? I went up and shot the shit out of some guns and was like, America, fuck yeah.
On Labor Day weekend? Is that what this one's
Hey,
for?
Every holiday is an American holiday to me.
Well, you know, where we are and all.
Spoken like a true patriot. I don't think I really did anything. I had a lot of plans and they all fell through. So I've been on some walks and that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, it cooled off at least a little bit today.
Thank God.
Yes.
Thank God for that. It was
I do not like the September. When I first moved here years ago, and I'm still really not used to it, the Idaho weather was, at the time at least, normal. It's September, it cools down, it stays cool. October gets colder, etc. But here it's like September is always up and down.
Second summer.
Second summer. It didn't used to be like this is globally warming-y kind of thing, if I'm allowed to say that. But like it's not always been like this. I did not grow up with like my birthday is always start of September. So like the cusp of it getting cold as fuck. And it's around my birthday that I can no longer wear anything like with short sleeves or so to me it's like, oh my God, why is it so hot and it's fucking September? What is going on? And some years it rains ash on my birthday, and that's fun too.
You've got
Not
a birthday
frequently.
coming up, Vanessa.
Happened at least twice. At least twice. I don't get snow, but I get some ash.
If you don't mind me asking, what's the date on that birthday, just so I know when I can say happy birthday?
The 4th of September.
The 4th of September. Do you remember the 4th of September? Hey guys, I don't know if you noticed this. So one of the gimmicks that we do on this show when we're talking about the films that we have picked, we talk about the Rotten Tomatoes scores, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's either the critics or, no matter that Eric has never once said it correctly, it's either the critics or the audience. But that has changed. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
No.
And I will be holding you to the new names.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
What is it? The audience and the people that annoy us with their weird rating bombs?
Worse. So the critics will be something familiar. It is called the tomato meter, which I thought was always the entire thing.
Yeah.
But tomato meter is now the critics. The audience, the popcorn meter.
Boo.
Because why would you want to keep it very clear what these scores represent?
Do they want to no longer use critics for critics and audience for audience? Like,
I don't know.
What the hell, dude? That's
Well, we
stupid
know
as
that
fuck.
we've always kind of taken these scores with a grain of salt because they can be, gimmicked and everything. And we knew that what we were saying was just part of the shit that we list off. It doesn't really mean anything, right?
Right.
But at least it was clear what it didn't mean.
Can we just speak in emojis from now on? Is that what's happening to our society?
Well, yeah, under 50%.
Porcupine ballooned my way into the school building today. I run out, but you know what I mean. That's fucking bullshit.
Okay, the tomato is either fresh or rotten. What is the popcorn? Is it burnt?
Oh wait.
Or is it fresh? Or
Oh.
They don't. They have tossed all of that out. It is just a tomato meter and a popcorn meter, and it is just all on this sliding scale of. And if you don't know and you're listening, you're like, I don't really understand what that means. Anyway, it means that if every critic gave this at least a D rating on their film, it's still going to be a positive review because they just grab all of the ratings. And as long as it got a passing grade, it will get up there into the 70s.
I don't like that. This is stupid.
Well, that's why it's always been a stupid thing. And I just kind of thought we all understood that it was a stupid thing. And it's just one of the things we add on to our list of bullshit to talk about.
Yes. Wow. Well, I'm guessing this is, they also own, like some theater owns Rotten Tomatoes. It's owned by Fandango and.
I think that's AMC, right?
Yeah.
That has all of those.
AMC on Fandango? Oh, okay. Random question though. Where did they get the audience numbers from? Like,
that's from the people who, in the case of something like, say, Captain Marvel, that's from all the nerds who got on there and said how horrible it was constantly. So if you just have everybody giving it a failing grade, then you're going to be getting into those low single and double digit. So you have
to go to Rotten Tomatoes website and vote there. That's how it.
Right.
So that's how audience works. And so they're not scooping it from IMDb or anything from like the popular responses.
No.
Okay.
No, and then don't get me started on IMDb. I can't understand how that is rated.
Logarithm, whatever they do, crap is really weird.
IMDb, I swear, it's like a ship that is going down, and that guy is in the band like playing the trumpet as it's been going down, and it's been doing that since 1997. It's just like one guy still playing the trumpet as it's sinking. There's nobody there, like aside from advertisers. There's like it got bought by Amazon, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're gonna fix the site." No, even fewer people are gonna work on it. So IMDb is like, it's 100% dependent on people putting their own information in. So you can just put whatever the hell you want in, as long as you have a subscription. So it's stupid. IMDb is stupid, but it's also helpful.
Specifically, I was talking about, I don't understand how their ratings work, because you can get like The Godfather and Jaws and, Star Wars, whatever, the highest rated films, and they're not 9 something, they're 7.6 is their rating. And I'm like, it seems like there's nothing over a 7.6 in this site.
It feels like, I think it was like started by some super cynical asshat who's like, well, if somebody's giving it a 5, it must be because they watched or worked on the movie, or a 10. So anything above a 9, I just don't think counts. And anything below a 3 doesn't really count. So everything's just going to be this weird mash between 7 and 4. Maybe 7 and 3. And they just figure it out in there and just toss out the top ones and toss out the bottom ones.
So, okay, as much of a mess as that is, even more frustratingly is like, how does Netflix say like, we recommend this at a 76% to you? And it's like, how do you know on earth that I would want to watch this or not? And it's always wrong. So I don't understand.
Do you ever thumbs up or thumbs down the movies that you've watched?
Since I got Netflix, I was all into the star system, and then the star system went away, and I have thumbs up and thumbs down things, but like it's still wrong. So I don't know what it's using.
If it's not 95 or above, it's probably not that good. I mean,
I think it's probably just telling me I should watch everything on its program.
Well, and it's also a cross-pollination of other people who've watched the movie and bothered to give it a thumbs up, and then they go and look at what you guys might have in common that you have thumbs up or thumbs down, and so that's how it's given you those numbers.
I'm a breathing human, and it's in their top 10 carousel, and they would like to have their numbers look good. I think that's how they decide if I want to see this movie or not. It sucks.
I've noticed anything in the 70s, as far as what I would rate something, it's more like something I'd rate in the 30s. So I don't know what their rating level is, but it is definitely leaning towards high. So if it's not 96, 97, I'm thinking it's probably not something I'm going to be interested in.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I have not looked at it that way. I've been like, oh, okay, it's like 70. So it must be pretty much a good one for me.
Nope.
Good to
Anyway,
know.
the entire point of this was that when we talk about our films today, you will be required to call it the tomato meter gives it this, and the popcorn meter gives it this, or I will just fucking throw everything down and leave.
No.
Eric will come out with something else. He'll be like, and the popcorn bucket is this. And this time I'm going to be like, it's the popcorn meter.
The alien
Tomato
popcorn bucket says.
All right, guys. I watched some stuff, and I'm going to try and pick stuff that I don't think you guys have watched, but maybe want to hear about. For example, I went and saw The Crow.
Oh my
really?
God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, you went
Now-
into a theater to see the movie?
To
To-
see The Crow? This is
I'm
what
not
you went to
gonna
the theater
just.
for?
I'm not going to just talk about The Crow. I'm going to talk about the entire Crow series because I gave it all a watch.
Oh wow.
And I hadn't seen anything past the second sequel.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Right.
So, we all know The Crow, pretty fucking great movie. Brandon Lee,
Yeah.
based on the comic book by James Abar, and pretty dang close to that story he wrote.
Yeah.
The stuff that they couldn't get into the movie was most of the stuff that they had to edit out to try and make what they had of Brandon Lee fit. And by some magic and sorcery, they actually came up with a halfway decent movie, right?
Yeah.
So then I watched the first sequel, which was City of Angels. And I had forgotten about this except for the fact that I knew I didn't like it. And I watched it and I was like, this is not as bad as I thought it was. This is not too shabby. They moved it to LA and they flipped their color scheme to be this kind of sick yellow. And the Crow looked cool and he still had a little bit of that energy and it still followed that kind of weird structure. If you remember, the original Crow opens with the death of Eric and Shelley. The cops
Right.
are all around.
Mhm.
And then the only thing we get about them as humans before this is flashbacks from Brandon Lee, Eric Draven. So in the second film, same thing. This guy and his son are killed by gangsters and thrown off of a pier, and the Crow resurrects him. And it's really cool because the little girl from the first one, she's now an adult and she's living in LA. So she kind of sees this happen. And when the guy comes back, she's there to kind of guide him and tell him, hey, this is what has happened to you and all this stuff. This is a gift that has been given to you. The third one, then, oh shit, I can't say too much about the third one. Let's just say that I watched the third one. It was not as bad as it could have been. It could have been much, much better, though, if they had just chosen a different person for the Crow. And then, and then the fourth one actually has, what's the, who am I trying to offend? What's the druggie? Edward Furlong as the Crow. David
What the
Boreanaz as the bad guy, Satanist. The girl from oh God. Anyway, quite bad,
Okay.
but a lot of things that I was like, okay, Edward Furlong didn't look horrible as the Crow. If they had a couple more bucks, they could have made this look better. But they knew what their budget was, and they set it in the desert, and they shot mostly during the day. And I was like, okay, you guys had whatever you had, $1 million, and you were like, well, we're not doing any fancy lighting or anything like that. So that brings us to The Crow, which they're calling not a remake, but a new adaptation of the original. The reason I went to see this in the theater is because a couple of people that I respect said that this film does not deserve all the hate it's getting and that they enjoyed it a lot. And I will now say I don't respect those people anymore. This movie is quite bad. And if there's something to like about it, it's the last 20 minutes of it where he fully embraces being the Crow, and then it turns into this spectacular gore fest where he is killing everybody who has killed him and Shelley. And the effects in that are wild. I mean, I was covering my eyes through most of it. I was just like, good Lord, that is a sword through the eye. And now he's going to fight with that guy connected to his sword, other people, and shit like that. And I was like, this thing
Nice.
fucking went balls out at the end. Where was any of that energy in the first hour and 20 minutes?
Wow.
Nowhere to be seen. The characters, there's nobody to like in this. You remember how much you like Eric and Shelley in the first
Yeah.
one because they're good people caught in a bad situation in a bad neighborhood and all that stuff. Eric and Shelley in this are dirtbags who are caught in a bad situation, and you're just like, okay, that's one way to do it, I guess. I'm not sure how many people you're going to connect with this way. It has a really neat supernatural twist to it in that the villain in this is like a fucking demon who can whisper in people's ears and then their eyes turn white and they kill themselves. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And what he really wants, because he's sucking their souls out, what he really wants is the soul of Eric, who's come back from the dead and all this. And, you know, the lighting is great. This clearly costs a ton of money. It is a shit movie. And I would even say to the people who are defending this, the lead actor, Skarsgård, started bad-mouthing the film before it came out and how disappointed he was with it and the direction they took with it. And I would say, fucking get on his side. There's no need to defend the shitty fucking corporation that made this movie. Get on the artist's side who was there and thought he was probably going to make a much cooler movie. So, by all means, go out and see this giant turd. It should be on Tubi in 2 weeks. It is fucking awful. But the last 20 minutes are great. So,
Oh my God.
it's called The Crow.
Wow.
Okie dokie.
Woo. Okay, well, I will not be checking out The Crow anytime soon. It was already pretty far down on my list anyway. It was like a vague interest, and then as I got closer, I was like, yeah. However, I did see a movie that a lot of people said was shit, and that was very interesting. I checked out the Rebel Moon director's cut,
Oh.
which is like
Had you
4
seen-
hours.
Had you seen
Yeah.
the original? Okay.
No, I
Okay.
had not seen
Oh,
the
well.
original. So I really don't know what it was because they added like an hour of content.
Wow.
It's actually pretty good. I mean, it's not great, but it was like it is a fucked up film. They do a lot of very fucked up gore in it. So I believe that was most of what was cut in the previous version, but I was just like, fuck, okay, there goes that guy's hand. Okay, there goes that person's face. Okay, you're gonna melt. Cool. Like, it is pretty intense. I don't know. Like, I would say I don't think it was good. It was clearly constantly stealing from other materials, like just wall to wall, constantly like, oh, that's from Blade Runner. Oh, that's from Lord of the Rings. Oh, that's from Star Wars. Oh, like the whole time. But at the same time, like I never was bored. And like the characters were slightly interesting. I guess I have to watch the second half now, but yeah.
Is the second half out?
I don't know if the director's cut of the second half is out. I'm not going to watch the original. I'm only going to watch the director's cut because I'm like, if I have to waste time, I might as well waste time on the best version of the thing I'm wasting time on. I can't watch the shitty version of the shitty version of the thing.
So I watched the shitty version of it,
Okay.
and I was able to finish it, but I couldn't finish the part 2, and that was enough for me to not go back and watch the director's cut of part 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad I
There you
didn't
go.
watch the original. It was just like it had been in the carousel for a long time and I just ran out of things, I guess, and was like, why not? Okay, let's see what this is. And I don't know. It was totally fine. It was like better than a lot of bullshit sci-fi I've seen and definitely had a lot of gore. So much
Yeah.
So,
That's,
the original
Rebel
didn't have
Moon.
any of that, right? Is that correct?
It had gore, but it was definitely a PG-13 thing. And in interviews I heard with him, he was saying basically, did this also have a bunch of sex and nudity? And yeah, he was saying his pitch was he wanted to make Heavy Metal Magazine as a movie.
It feels much closer
And-
to that.
And they told him, well, how about something that we can also show in theaters? And he was like, oh, I will do that if you allow me to do this version, and then we can tame it for that.
Did it
So,
show in theaters?
I guess it showed for, whatever, 2 nights or something like
Oh.
that. And then the next
Yeah.
weekend it showed. That's how Netflix does it if they think that it's going to get
Awards.
eligible for an award or something like that.
Yeah. I think the only thing that really bugged me was that robot who just like wanders around forever. I was like, where are you going, bud? Like, what are you learning about? Why did we pay what's his name for this? Fucking voice English bro. Sir whatever. It's too much money. Too much fucking money. Don't they save so much money by just having this robot look longingly into the cornfields all the time. I was like, I don't care anymore. You're nothing. Jesus.
You are selling the hell out of this, I gotta tell you.
But
I
lots
like
of
she started with it's pretty good, and now it's like
I
what
just
the
want to tell you
fuck?
the one thing that irritated me the most every time we cut back to him, because I love robots. I fucking love robots. I was so
Sure.
excited for this robot. I swear, every single time we cut to him, I was like, they just want this to be a poster. This is supposed to be somebody's like screensaver. It's like, robot. Oh, robot looking this way. Like it just, anyways. What'd you see, Eric?
Anyway, I've been pleasantly surprised as doing this 100 days that the amount of 2023 and 24 movies that are 90 minutes or less.
Oh,
A couple of years ago, it was like, God, all these freaking horror films are 2 hours long.
save the
learned.
cat, man.
They've learned. So I checked out a movie called Oddity.
Yes.
Fucking great.
Hmm.
Holy shit. This is on my top of my list so far of what I've watched in the 100 days.
Hmm.
It's a story of a medium that attempts to uncover the truth behind her sister's murder at the scene of the crime. And there's relationships, things going on between the people. There's really 3 to 4 people maybe that are a big part of the film. It's a very small cast. It's a very tight location. It's a neat location.
Hmm.
A really, really weird, creepy wooden guy that's in it. The acting is incredible. It's from the guy, what's his name? Damien McCarthy, who did Caveat,
Yeah.
which was really good and really uncomfortable to watch.
Did you notice the caveat bunny in
Yes.
the background of that one scene?
Yeah, like, well done. I did not
Yeah.
know it was him until I saw that. I'm going, okay, I gotta double check. But have you seen this one then, Kelly?
Yeah, I also like this. My only complaint would be that there was nothing in it that surprised me. I feel like I knew
True.
everything that was going to happen
Yeah.
before it happened, but it was
Yeah.
so well done that I was like, well, I can't be upset by this. This is what I thought was going to happen, and it's pretty good.
And some really honest scares,
Yeah.
some real solid ones. So, but
Yeah, Oddity. What did you watch that on? Is that on Shudder now? I think it's a rental.
Yeah, I think it
is
is.
how I saw it.
Shudder,
so-
or I watched it on Amazon, but I think it's coming to Shudder or the end of this month. It was on that thing I posted on our Facebook page. But I
Okay.
think I rented it on Amazon.
That was Oddity.
Yes.
Okay, what do I want to talk about? I saw new stuff, but I don't have a lot of nice things to say about it, and I don't know if I want to go back. I'm just going to go back. So, Vanessa, you talked about the last 3 episodes of Evil being available, so
Mhm.
I watched them, and now I should preface this by saying I had taken some mushroom gummies earlier in the day, and that may have been why I felt so fucking invested in the stories of the last 3 episodes, where I was just like, David, what are you going to do? Are you going to work for the entity? They're not good. But, God dang. Eric, have you finished it yet?
No, still had a couple days of not watching a lot, and then stuck in the 100 days thing. But God, I hope to this week.
This series, I mean, this is what you hope for any series if it's going to get canceled, is they get notice so they can wrap up their storylines. And they just did a phenomenal job in making me very satisfied with our 3 protagonist storylines, and even the priest and the nun who help them, and a couple of side characters and the daughters and all of that stuff. So boy, just probably one of my favorite TV series ever. I think it was just so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally agree. And I think they did a great job with those extra episodes that they were kind of gifted.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were really solid. I don't know if I've seen the very, very, very last one or not.
What? Oh well, you gotta.
No
Yeah.
kidding. I don't know if it was out when I was watching. Rah.
Well,
Hard to say.
it's called Evil. The first 2 seasons are on Netflix and Prime, I think, but you can only watch the last 2 seasons on Paramount Plus. So.
Right. And those are the best seasons, let's be honest. Actually, no. 2 on is great.
Yeah, I think though, I mean, obviously them winding up on a streaming service that allowed them to get a little more R-rated with their material was really helpful for a show like this.
And it was also good that kind of like when David Lynch got Firewalk with Me, he just went crazy with content because, he'd been strangled by TV for so long that he really went over the top with Firewalk with Me. I like that Paramount Plus didn't, the creators of Evil didn't do that. They added elements. They added some sex, some violence, the swearing, but they didn't do a scene where everybody says something extreme just to say that shit. It worked in the story.
Yeah, they didn't change the feel of the show, which was really nice. Yeah, I have one more episode to watch. So I'm excited now, Kelly. I know what I'm up to tonight.
Nice.
Yes.
Although, okay, so the reason why I didn't finish watching Evil, I guess, is because I got very distracted by a show that just showed up on Netflix.
Maybe.
And I somehow missed it. It'd been on my list for a couple years, and it's called The Terror. Did either of you guys watch it?
Is this the one based on Dan Simmons's story about Daniel Crozier, and his fated expedition up to the north?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
The ship.
That's a good one to get drawn into.
Oh my God, it was so good.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I like every episode, I was like, God damn, this is a great show. I totally fell in love with it. Every episode, I went from like hating certain characters to then just loving them and then being horrified if they perhaps did not make it. And and then watching people like try to survive and fight off various things that might be in the show, and like watching which ones are like just basically die and other people who like really like get a bite out of it before they go. It was God damn, it was so good. I was only sad because it was done. So I'm gonna try to watch Terror season 2, which I know is a totally new story, but I'm hoping it doesn't suck.
I couldn't finish season 2.
Yes, I don't think I watched 2.
And season 3 is coming out, I think, at the end of this year.
Oh,
shit.
weird.
Okay.
So
is it
I
all
hope
going to
that-
be via I mean, I know Shudder has
Yeah.
season 2. Netflix has season 1. So
yeah, it'll be an AMC show again. That story. So I read that book many, many years ago when it first came out, and I was so captivated by it, and I was like, boy, he's done a lot of research on this that I wanted to. Then, I bought a bunch of books on Daniel Crozier and the expedition and all of this stuff. And at that time, the ship had never been found. They had no idea what had happened to the Terror.
Right.
And when I was reading all of the research books, they were clearly the books that Simmons had read too, because they were exactly what had happened in his book, minus the supernatural parts.
Oh, weird.
So I
That's
thought that they
crazy.
did a really neat job of adapting that. It's not perfect to the book, but it's really close. And since then, they have found the Terror. I don't know if you guys.
Yeah.
They
Didn't they
found
like
it?
Was that the one they pulled a bottle of alcohol or something off of? And
I
trying
don't
to
think that
reproduce.
was the one. I think that was from Shackleton's
Oh,
expedition.
that's right. Yeah, there's Shackleton.
But the Terror really had just disappeared, and they could not find it at all. And they finally found it, because we can find everything now. This is why we know
We
there
got
was
satellites,
no
damn it.
Loch Ness monster or anything like that. They just fucking pointed this thing down around as where they thought it would be, and then they were like, "Oh shit, there it is." So,
Do they know
That
what
was a
happened now?
well, it happened like it happened in the series. They ran into ice that they could not break through, and then
Yeah.
their food stores were all bad and all of that stuff,
Yeah.
and they slowly started dining on each other.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it happens.
Christ. Having a real
Plane
fight of the beats
crashes,
there.
boat crashes.
I mean, look, if it has any kind of crashing, ideally natural, but if it's man-made, I'll take it. I'm excited. I mean, this is coming from the girl whose favorite book as a kid was like Hatchet. So it's like, how did they survive? Oh my God, what'd they do? I must know.
Alive. Well, I went a different route. I took another suggestion from Mike DeBronzo,
Oh,
our phone in specialist,
Mm.
and it was an amazing film. It's not a guy pulling off a wiener kind of strange Sasquatch film by any means. It's called I believe it's pronounced Vourdalak. It's a
Vourdalak.
Oh.
French film.
yeah, brand new.
Oh.
Yes. And really, really good.
Oh shit. Okay.
It is definitely for the art house leaning thinker.
Okay.
If you don't like, it's I wouldn't say it's slow. It's just strange. If you don't like pacing that is a little off and a little different, the characters are pretty much all interesting, if incredibly weird. There's a thing or two that goes on that if you're interested, I'm going to leave off talking about because it's such a surprise. I didn't know about it. I read nothing about this. I didn't watch trailers. And
I think I
when
know
it
what you're not talking about.
Yes. And when that happened on screen, I was like, holy shit, what a weird way to do this. And at first, it takes a little getting used to because it is so bizarre. But once you're used to it, man, it really works. It really, really works. So this is on Amazon right now for rent. I think it's just on Prime. And it is, boy, the story is a French envoy to the king of France gets lost in an area that they don't really say, but I guess the original book was Serbia. And he's got a map that they kind of hint at that it looks like it's still that area. And he goes to a house where someone said, the house of this can help you. And he shows up and they are not really in the situation to be helpful. But they try, and it's just very interesting. And the acting is so on point and fitting for each character, as odd as that sounds, because they don't act the same. You don't have a bunch of actors living in a shared world sometimes even. So I don't know. I really liked it. It just really surprised me. So
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Are you looking at it right now?
Yeah.
Can you spell that
Now
for
that,
me?
yeah. It's the THE.
Thank you.
Vourdalak.
Vourdalak. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I
Vourdalak.
remember seeing a trailer for it and thinking, wow, that looks amazing. And then I saw it went straight to streaming and I was like, oh, it must have sucked. So which
It's
is
an
not,
arty French movie,
know.
so it didn't have a chance in hell of
Yeah, that's
making it
true.
in U.S. theaters.
Yeah,
very
I think
long.
my brain has not been great at like parsing out like how to tell if a movie's actually worth watching or not. But I'm like, oh, well, I guess if it went straight to streaming and it sounded like it was going to do theater and then it didn't, it must be a pile of garbage, which is not right in this day and age. So I'm
Yeah,
really glad that
especially
you saw it.
nowadays.
Yeah, I'm glad you saw it and that it was good. That's great.
Yeah, and I could understand why some people have a completely different reaction to this film. There's a few things that if you go with, you'll love it, and if they grate on you, you are going to not like this movie at all. So, but I thought it was great.
France.
Yeah. There's that to start with.
Wow. Okay. Well, why don't we take a little break and we can all badmouth France. And then when we come back, I know that we are talking about birthdays because Vanessa's birthday is coming up.
Party!
All right.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear hamburger.
Order a hamburger at some places, chances are it's been sitting around getting old. Wendy's believes no hamburger should grow old. At Wendy's, your hamburger is always served immediately, fresh, hot off the grill. The other guys can't promise that.
How old are you now? How old?
Choose fresh. Choose Wendy's.
And we are back. Vanessa, this was your subgenre pick. Remind us what we're talking about.
We're talking about birthdays because despite the fact that across the years we have all had birthdays, some not even that long ago, I decided that I'm going to go ahead and use the topic. So, yay.
Wow.
Yeah, my birthday's
Cheers.
coming up this, I think it was yesterday, my
Yes.
birthday. So I'm
If you're listening to
older.
this on release day.
What a great day I had. Woo woo. So I want to talk about a film that has a bunch of birthdays in it, as in there are a bunch of births, and that is the 1995 film Village of the Damned.
At precisely 10 a.m., in a quiet seaside village, something happened. Something unexplainable. Something unbelievable.
There's a lot of pregnancies, much more than would normally be expected. All the pregnancies seem to date from the day of the blackout.
Now, this town is about to discover that looks can kill.
There have been a few casualties. I should say accidents that might be related to contact with the children.
My daughter was involved. Who are they?
They have one mind that they share between them.
Father,
Let us pray.
you've been discussing us with Dr. Vern. What did she tell you? You're hiding something.
The police can't do anything to stop the children.
Get out while you can.
There's something so much more powerful than we'll ever be.
What are you gonna do?
The only thing that we can do.
You can't stop us, you know. Don't try.
John Carpenter. I was like, I have to
Oh,
take
okay, right.
advantage of John Carpenter for my birthday. Like,
Sure,
come on.
sure.
So Rotten Tomato score of 30% from Tomato Meter
Yeah,
and
yeah.
27% from Popcorn Meter.
I would say on the popcorn meter.
On the
Not
pop
from
on
the popcorn.
on the
On the-
popcorn
I
meter.
believe that's how the nomenclature will be.
Got
used.
it. So budget of 22 million, box office of 9.4.
Ouch.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Directed by John Carpenter, of course, 33 directing credits, 60 writing, including things that we have talked about, like The Fog, and also Crypticon episodes, including The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, Prince of Darkness, and also other films you guys might know him from, Mouth of Madness, Christine, Dark Star, Escape from New York, LA, etc., etc., etc. It's great. written by it's based on the John Wyndham book, The Midwich Cuckoos, which I have not read, and I have not seen the original film, and I'm in trouble for that. Co-written by David Himmelstein and John Carpenter. David Himmelstein only has like 6 credits, so don't worry about him. Starring Christopher Reeve. 49 credits, including, this has a crazy cast. 49 credits, including Superman, Anna Karenina's TV movie, The Great Escape 2, the TV movie. This was actually his last film before his accident, and he has since passed away in 2004. Kirstie Alley, 77 credits, including 148 episodes of Cheers, 67 episodes of Veronica's Closet, Drop Dead Gorgeous, Star Trek II, as Saavik, she was very good. Look Who's Talking, and she died in 2022. Mark Hamill, 380 credits. Luke Skywalker, I know, Jesus. It just goes up and up and up. Luke Skywalker, tons of voice work, including the Joker in the Batman animated series and games, Chucky in the recent Child's Play, Skeletor, Firelord Ozai in Avatar: The Last Airbender, and Skips in the regular show. Also in this, Thomas Dekker, who plays David, the runt of the litter. He has 79 credits, including John Connor in Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. Also Lindsay Hahn, who plays the evil leader child. 50 credits, including 7 episodes of True Blood, 3 episodes of Voyager, and a lot of very low-budget horror films that I've never heard of. And of course, Buck Flowers in this, which we would know from other John Carpenter movies. And John Carpenter himself, man at gas station phone, has a lot of hair. I was like, that's John Carpenter. I know his weird hair at that era from anywhere. His back fully turned in the corner screen on the phone. I was like, I know who the fuck that is. Also, Seth Meyers as an uncredited trooper. So, story. Some aerial shots of some islands. We start off with some deer scattering through the woods and this weird, low, strange sound. We meet a series of families in the small town of Midwich. We begin by following a doctor, Christopher Reeves, and his real estate wife. He wakes up and asks if she's noticed anything strange, but she hasn't. Then we meet the local elementary school principal, Jill, and her loving, teasing husband, Frank. They joke about having kids one day. Relevant? They're on their way to a local fair at the school for a harvest festival where they're raising money to pay for a new school bus. There we meet a stressed out priest, played by Mark Hamill, and a woman who is excited for her husband to come back from Japan in 6 weeks. Relevant. It's bustling with games and food, etc. when suddenly everyone falls unconscious where they stand. Most people fall safely, but a few get horrific deaths, including a volunteer at the fair who falls on his barbecue grill and lights on fire, a motorcyclist who falls asleep and is dragged across concrete, and Frank, who falls asleep at his car and crashes/explodes. 6 hours later, that guy is BBQ. The police, the military, government agents, they're all at the border of the town of Midwich where they've drawn a giant line. And every time they send someone off into the town, the person immediately falls unconscious. So something is going up and they all know it. But then they see the cows rise and they're like, oh shit, we should go in. Everybody in the town starts to wake up, and government scientist Dr. Susan Werner is leading the team to figure out the investigation. But of course, after checking over the carnage and the confusion, there is nothing obvious that has happened, except for a little while later, women begin to discover they are pregnant. In fact, 10 women. And Dr. Werner says she will give them money, $3,000 a month, if they decide to have the babies because they would like to see what's up, including all the medical expenses. But if they want to abort them, they will pay for that too. Some women consider aborting, but they all have a dream, a strange dream about how happy they are pregnant that they all decide to keep them. They all go into labor the exact same day. And of course, unfortunately, one of the babies dies when the umbilical cord wraps around its neck. Years later, the children develop into these like weird, overly smart, overly cold kids. They all have white hair and a really strange demeanor. They have telekinetic powers, allowing them to make people harm themselves if they feel threatened. And they've also paired up together and kind of mated up, except for David, the youngest, who has no mate because she died in childbirth. This is Jill's son, and he definitely feels like the runt of the litter. He's the youngest. He's the only one who has like slightly like mussed up hair. And Jill asks Alan, the doctor, Christopher Reeves, to see if he can teach them about humanity since they kind of respect him. And he's like, I can't teach them anything. These kids are evil. And she's like, try, and tries for all of 5 minutes before he gives up. They also respect Dr. Werner, who continues to test them, but not for long because they start to feel more and more threatened and begin to isolate and tear down the town. Any adult that they see as a threat, they force to basically kill themselves, including the priest who tries to shoot them from afar. And a nice little like on the mound moment. But instead they make him shoot himself. So will David find his humanity and peel away from the group, but still kind of wander around complicitly while they kill the townsfolk? Will we discover these kids are not at all children, but cold-hearted aliens when it is revealed that the remains of one of the that miscarried baby is floating around in a tube and it has an alien head and body? Will Dr. Allen and Julie end up starting a romance for literally 2 seconds in one scene before he takes matters into his own hands and tries to resolve the issue? Will the world be saved by the steadfast image of a brick wall versus laser eyes? Watch on Blu-ray to find out. Yeah, this film, it sucks. It sucks ass. It is a better version of The Happening than The Happening. If you're going to compare it to something that feels tonally equivalent, it's way better than The Happening. There are some super strong scenes at the beginning. There's a mom that's forced to put her arm into boiling soup, and it's fucking crazy, and you're just into it. They have an ET style jump scare when a guy in a biosuit shows up in a woman's house who just wakes up. There's the birth scene, and then also the scene of everybody passing out, which I love. But the kid actors are not great. They're like the whole film hangs on them and the adults are acting their asses off around them. But like, you can't make these kids not be kids. Like, they're all these 10-year-olds and younger. They just can't do that good. The third act is also mega truncated. The children agree that it's time to be on their own and they go up to the barn and the film is like over. It's like, okay, Reeves is meant to teach them about humanity, and he literally tries for 5 minutes in one class, and then something happens, and he's over it. I'm like, of course they don't know humanity. You didn't even try. He kisses that principal lady out of nowhere, and you're like, what is happening? There's also not a lot of gore or violence for an R film. There's like a couple of really big moments, but a lot of them's not. And they also leave on this weird, ominous ending where they spend all the film trying to build up David as being this sort of kid who's got a little bit of humanity in him. And then the very last shot, they're like, ominous music, slow pan and zoom into David's face as they leave the town. It's like, what the fuck? Also, the special effects kind of aren't great. Aside from the actual physical stuff, all the eye effects are really terrible, I think. And they're done by ILM, so it sucks that it didn't work. I only have a little bit of trivia. Tagline, beware the children. The white hair was actually dyed on the children. It was not wigs, even though it looks like wigs. The child actors remember chunks of their hair falling out from the bleach, and then when one critic panned the wigs, they were like, "No, it was not wigs. I had my scalp burning." And just one other, I guess, piece of interesting trivia. The film was shot in Western Marin County, California, which is where director John Carpenter had a house for several years. The location essentially seemed perfect. However, the locals were not happy to see a film crew in the area, and they made the shoot very difficult by harassing them and causing vandalism. While they were shooting a sound take, a neighbor would usually start mowing his lawn or start up a chainsaw until they paid him to stop. Some of the people even tried to break the equipment truck. The whole experience essentially soured John Carpenter on living in the area, even though he also had filmed his parts of The Fog over there too. So it's too bad. Universal, the reason why it doesn't make any sense is Universal cut out huge chunks of it. It was like the whole film is about 2/3 the length of what it originally was. And Universal at that time was very known for coming in and just cutting the shit out of films. And so there's apparently a ton of stuff missing. And a lot of the actors talked about how they were like, I don't know why anyone would care about these characters. Like, all the scenes that make them interesting and give you context are gone. So that would explain a lot about it.
I saw this in the theater.
Whoa.
Oops.
I too am a John Carpenter fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't hate this movie, but I like the original a lot more. The original is just creepier. I was just kind of scratching my head at the casting through most of this film.
Yeah. I feel like there could have been a lot of different choices. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I like Mark Hamill. I like Christopher Reeve. I like Kirstie Alley. I just didn't think they were right at all in this movie.
Mark Hamill is like a surly, like stressed out priest who then randomly is like, I'm going to kill them all. And then he's gone. And I was like, this is the biggest waste of Mark Hamill I've ever seen. This is crazy. Why would you do, like, it was such a waste of him. And Reeves was fine. Kirstie Alley, I thought could have been a different role. I don't know. It was a little strange.
Yeah, I wonder why he felt like he wanted to do this.
Why Carpenter wanted to do this?
Yeah.
I think it was one of those, like, he said he did one for them and then, or no, he did one for him, so he owed one for them kind of thing. There was something along those lines. So he felt like he was contractually obligated to do it. But you know, he's so like impossible to say because he'll say one thing and then later he'll say something else. So he'll be like, I had a great time working with Universal. And then he'll be like, Universal, you know, I felt like I had to do it. I'm like,
yeah.
Did you have a good time or didn't you? I don't know. Somebody give him more money and weed. Put him in a better mood.
Well, and I mean, $22 million budget is nothing to sneeze at for something that had pretty minimal special effects.
I know there were more special effects. I watched an interview with the SFX guy, and there were more they did, but they cut it out because some of them look fucking stupid, man. The babies all look stupid. I'm glad they cut it. I was like, all the babies apparently rose up at the same time in their little cribs, and I was like, this is awful. Thank God you cut this. This is garbage. I know they spent a lot of time making robot babies, but.
Yeah. Eric, if you don't mind, I'll go next.
Dive in.
I'm going to put 10 minutes on the Strange Eons radio buzzer.
Ooh.
I probably will not need 10 minutes to talk about Book of Monsters from 2018.
So what have you three got planned for this evening?
Oh, you know, just quiet night in with the girls.
Bed by midnight, okay?
See? Party Central. Who are these people? They don't go to our school. Relax. Wait, that's my bedroom. Oh, this was a bad idea. Why do you hang around with them?
Smile, Sophie. You might find you like it. Are you a virgin?
Hey guys, I'm late for a party!
Get out, run!
A monster! A fucking monster! A big fucking monster! You get a lap dance and full frontal. You didn't pay me for this shit!
You've got to be fucking kidding me!
Any knowledge of this film, you guys? Okay. Budget of about $76,000. No box office numbers, obviously. The Rotten Tomato meter. Oh no, wait. I guess it's just the tomato meter. Gives it 75%.
I call you out on that one.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
And the popcorn meter has it at 43%. I have thoughts on that. Directed by Stuart Spark, who has 17 credits, mostly short films, but also the features The Creature Below and How to Kill Monsters, which is the sequel to this that was just made in 2023.
Oh.
It was written by Stuart Spark, the director, and Paul Butler, who has 13 credits, mostly short films, but also The Creature Below and How to Kill Monsters. And it stars Lindsay Crane, who has 20 credits, including The Creature Below, How to Kill Monsters, Run from Hell, and Zomblogalypse.
Perplexing.
Also, Michaela Longden, who has 42 credits, including When Darkness Falls, Eating Miss Campbell, The Ghost Within, and also Creature Below and How to Kill Monsters. And then Lizzie Aaron Standen, who has 23 credits, including the others I've mentioned, and Satan's Grotto, Love Online, and The Good Neighbor. Also in this is Daniel Thrace, Rose Muirhead, and Nicholas Vince. Okay, Book of Monsters I watched on Tubi. This is a very, very low-budget film. We open on a young girl in bed, and her mother is reading what seems to be a bedtime story, but then becomes very clear it is some kind of supernatural book she's reading from. It's like it's a book of monsters. Anyway, they suddenly hear a noise coming from under the bed, and the mom is yanked underneath, and then we see these demonic hands coming from the edge of the bed. And then we meet Sophie, waking up from a nightmare about her past. It turns out Sophie is turning 18 today, and she's planning a birthday party.
Yay!
For her friends. I understood the assignment.
Shush.
She is very nerdy and obviously an outcast, and the only two friends she has are Mona and Beth. Also, her father has gifted her the ancient book her mom was reading in the flashback, and then left them all alone for their little party. Of course, Sophie has a school bully in the form of Arya, who has decided to show up with a bunch of friends to disrupt the party. It is a typical 80s group of people that includes hot chicks, nerdy but cute boys, and Jess, a girl that Sophie has had a crush on for forever. Also, there's a mysterious woman named Pandora who has shown up, and she seduces one of the dudes to come upstairs to Sophie's bedroom, where they proceed to start making out. Arya humiliates Sophie by having a stripper named Carl show up and give her a lap dance in front of everyone. Carl is not attractive, and he has a vibrating dildo with attachments hanging off of his work belt.
As you do.
Yeah. Meanwhile, upstairs, Pandora bites the boy's neck and then starts transforming, ripping and tearing out of her human skin and becoming a horrible monster. It's actually a fairly decent effect. Not horrible. The boy she had seduced was a virgin, and his blood splashes all over the Book of Monsters, thereby releasing the monsters within. So, literally, for the next 15 minutes, which is way too fucking long, we get a monster attack on the party. There is a plague doctor monster that shows up and kills a few people, and he unleashes these large sentient slugs. There is a scene of possessed garden gnomes coming to life and attacking the party. Various other things happen, but Sophie is able to dispatch most of these monsters because she recognizes them from the stories her mom told her. Also, the stripper dude kills one of the gnomes with the vibrator, of course, set on high. So,
when you show a vibrator at the beginning of a movie, you
Chekhov's
use
vibrator.
Chekhov's vibrator is excellent.
Police show up, but they are dispatched quickly enough by these monsters. There is a djinn from the painting that comes to life and then starts possessing people. All of this is in this 15-minute chunk where I'm just like, I sure would like to have just a couple of people talking to each other. How many times are you sitting there dying for some kind of exposition? Finally, after all this settles down and our survivors regroup, Sophie consults the book and finds a map inside to a hidden vault in the house. Inside the vault, we find all sorts of weapons, and we find out that Sophie's mom was a monster hunter, and Sophie was also born to be one, kind of a Buffy the Vampire Slayer type thing. Also, we find out that Pandora, the woman who had killed the virgin, she was the monster that killed Sophie's mother. And then the third act evolves into a gore fest as all the kids fight back now, armed with weapons and information and tons of moxie. The end. I will just say this. The movie is very, very low budget. The effects are quite bad, and the acting is pretty amateurish. However, and Eric and Vanessa, you will appreciate it. There is a ton of heart in this film. These guys were trying to make a good movie. They were not trying to make a bad movie. And so I actually enjoyed it for what it was. I have some trivia. This was a Kickstarter movie. During the film's crowdfunding campaign, backers were able to vote on the design of each monster, and the winning choices were used in the movies.
Wow.
That's clever.
Yeah. The chainsaw prop used by Sophie was non-functional and even lacked a starting cord. Whenever actor Lindsay Crane pulls on the cord to start the chainsaw, she is actually miming the action. Sound design and visual effects were used to make it seem like the blade is spinning. According to director Stuart Spark, each of the 6 monsters in the movie is inspired by a different monster archetype from the horror genre. The slasher is Jason from Friday the 13th. The beast is a werewolf from An American Werewolf in London. There's a critter from Critters, and there's a shapeshifter, which looks suspiciously like the xenomorph aliens. And there's something called the Abomination, which is basically something from The Thing, all sorts of tentacles and stuff like that. And then something called Paranormal, which is Samara from Ringu. And there's various little homages to these movies, especially Aliens. A lot of homages to Aliens. Tons of homages to Aliens. Some of the guests are cocooned up and stuck against a wall. The sentient slugs act like chest bursters. And there's a final battle that's obviously inspired by the power loader versus the alien queen scene in Aliens. I have some reviews. Dr. Googie 2810 gives this 1 out of 10 stars. He says, absolute crap of the movie. 1 star only for the idea and the movie and gore effects. All the rest can be flushed in the toilet. Actors, what a laugh. You can't even call that acting. That fat redhead chick who tried to act as a seductress, blah ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. OMFG, so lame, so sad. Acting, so slow, so bad. Dear director, please don't make movies anymore. Over and out.
Wow.
So, Dr. Googie 2810 sounds like a fun guy to sit next to at a party.
Shit.
Steph Mossman 21 gives it 10 out of 10. She says, a lot of heart has gone into this film. That's obvious. It's made from a passion of 80s B-movie horror films. It's hilarious, gory, action-packed, and well-written, and the characters are great. I would fall somewhere between a 1 and a 10 on this movie. It is really low budget. It is hard to get past that. But, yeah, I mean, the camera angles, everything was done just well enough that they have made a sequel to it last year. So... Now, I'm not going to check out the sequel, but still. This is called Book of Monsters, and it is available on Tubi if you so desire. 1 minute left, guys.
Nice work.
Okay.
Yes.
Eric, do you want to...
Sure.
It looked like you were going to ask me something, so I was waiting.
No. I'm pretty sure I've seen this, and my reaction is very similar to yours. Like, I love it when indie filmmakers aren't afraid to show how much it matters to them that they're making this film, and they do that really well.
Yeah.
Well put.
Okay,
10 minutes, buddy.
Thank you. I have a movie that's just all about birthday.
Ooh.
The Banana Splits movie.
Hey, sweetheart.
We are going to the Banana Splits.
Sometimes at night, I see the splits riding around in their little cars, laughing and singing.
Who's excited to see the banana splits?
Rebecca, I'm canceling the show.
What?
Hey, kids, put on your happiest faces because the Banana Split Show is about to begin.
Where are the children?
Mom, get out of here. Time's almost up.
Why are you doing this to me?
Please!
Let me out! Now the show can go on forever and ever and ever.
Come on, you fuzzy son of a... I just really want your brother's birthday to be perfect.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I have not seen this.
The tomato scores are going to surprise you. You know what? I'm not going to bother with saying the proper ones because they're
What's the
both
tomato meter?
they're both 60. The same.
This is how you know that these scores mean shit.
This is available to rent all over the place. Directed by Danashki Esterhazy, who did Infectious. I was Lorena Bobbitt and Killer Body Count. The writer was Jed Elenhoff, who wrote Malibu Rescue, movies and TV show. Worst period, prom period, ever period. And my Super Psycho Sweet 16 1 and 2.
Oh.
Also Scott Thomas. They're kind of a writing team. They pretty much wrote all the same things. Let's see. This is stars Danny Kind, who you might know from the movie I talked about, I think, a couple weeks ago, Humane. Working Moms, 83 episodes. Flower Shop Mystery, Dearly Departed. And Summer's Moon. Also Steve Lund, who was in Baby It's Cold Outside. 5 episodes of Shit Creek. 33 episodes of Bitten, and the short film The Dunwich Horror, which I think we've seen. I think it looked familiar. Selena Martin, who is in Adventures in Public School, and The Imperfects. All righty. So, my opinion is not really colored in any way by the original show because I never watched it. I have no knowledge of them at all. I did go back after watching this and watch like a 15-minute some odd clip on YouTube of highlights from the show. So I'll get to that later. The movie starts and it's on a kid's birthday where he's wondering what they're going to do to celebrate because he doesn't know. He's got a dickish stepdad who is obviously going to be a problem. Nice mother and a brother who seems on the edge of being a really cool older brother, but also kind of, he's a teen boy. The movie looks, the one weird thing in this film as they're doing stuff, a lot of people talk like it's not popular anymore. But as the movie goes on, you find out, well, it seems like it's still pretty popular. But this is the kid's favorite show. The lead guy's favorite show is the Banana Splits. So in secret, his mother acquired 5 tickets to go see a live taping of the show on his birthday. So it's the family and a friend of his who has the flu. So he has to call up another kid to go with him who they barely know each other. And the guy's like, he's weird. You know what his favorite show is? But mom's like, you're going no matter what. So he goes with them. And as they show up at the studio, the security guard is kind of the harbinger of the old man at the gas station of this movie, where he kind of hints, oh, it's way back in the back. You turn left, right, left. It's the last studio in the lot. And you know what? The humor and stuff so far is working fairly well. It's decently written and works just fine. Now, this show that supposedly isn't liked very much, they show up to, and there's a massive line for it. Huge chunk of people waiting to get in, all talking about how excited they are to see it and what a big deal it's going to be to tell their friends they went and saw it live. And they do a nice job of setting up a bunch of characters that you're okay if they get killed. There's, of course, the douchebag dad. We already have him. There's the helicopter father who wants to make sure his daughter gets seen by the producers because he knows once they see him, they'll pick her for the show because she's just that perfectly talented. And the this movie's maybe just a little bit before, when was this? 2022, I think it was. 2019. So it's right on that edge of where influencers really started to take off. So they have a couple of those kind of folks who are in it for getting their scenes on that we were backstage at this place. So again, I'm going, really seems like it's still a popular show, people. But the new VP is on set and he's canceling it. This is the last show that will ever be shown, even though it's already booked for several weeks in advance and the studio's set up and they've all the things ready. He goes, nope, we're done. This is it. It's out. Okay. Now the characters finally show up and they look awesome. They look really good. A setup is kind of given because they're the guy who controls them or who operates them is a little left of center, little not quite all there, shall we say. He's got a few cards full deck, and he is upgrading one of the characters. So, wonder about something might go wrong here. And they start the show, and there's Stevie, who's the real character on the show, who one of the kid leans over to the guy, his friend who came and said, nobody likes Stevie. And that seems kind of indicated. Not only is the character a little lame, the guy playing him is drunk and hitting on all the women in really, really over the top way. It's like somebody's ready for their sexual harassment firing. There are great little moments where they just show the critters, one of the banana splits just standing there, not doing anything, just standing there looking. And it's creepy. It kind of gives you a nice little like, oh, okay, what's going on? And of course, in the nice way, the way this should work, the biggest fan kid whose birthday it is starts to notice something's off. Something's a little wrong with the way they're acting on the show, but he's not quite sure what. And a group of them win a prize based on like stars on their tickets that they get to go backstage to meet the Banana Splits. Oh, but the birthday boy didn't have a star. So his older brother goes hero mode, goes backstage to the lady he was hitting on the line who thought he was kind of charming and convinces her to let the boy stay. So the brother becomes, definitely one of the good guys of the show. The brother, the mom, and the little kid are the heroes of this show by a long, long shot. In a wonderfully cliche horror movie moment as the action starts and people start getting quite graphically killed. This is not a bloodless movie by any means. The mom, of course, has to take off her sweater and reveal a tank top underneath. It's battling time for the horror movie lady. So, and they figure out the ways to take them out. And is one of them good? There's a great bit where they've got this little car that bananas drive in and they use it to run over the father. And a lot of it is done with tongue in cheek and is quite funny. And then other little creepy, nice little moments. And like I said, it's really pretty violent. So it's kind of like, who will survive the attack of the demons? They sort of hint at. Will they even kill the little kids? Maybe, because they got a whole shitload of them tied up at one point. Taglines. Tra-la-la-la-la, terror. Lights, camera, terror. And the show must go on. So, in the pantheon of the 3 movies along this way that came out, I will put Five Nights at Freddy's at the bottom. Pretty far at the bottom, to be honest. The Banana Splits, a fairly close second to Nicolas Cage's Willy Wonderland. I found this fairly entertaining. If you expect anything more than what you think it should be, you're not going to get it. Okay. Go in knowing exactly what you're getting, and you're going to get that. Jean-Michael Vincent was in the original show, some character named Link. And after watching the original show, yes, drugs were prevalent when this thing was created.
Yes.
Quick rundown.
Jan-Michael Vincent.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. I did know that.
Quick rundown, though, before we roll. This is a variety show produced by Hanna-Barbera Productions. And if you're of a certain age, you remember that there was a crap load of these weird live-action kids shows in the 70s. Like the Sigmund and the Sea Monster, I believe, was my favorite at the time. And of course, Land of the Lost was the big one, the most popular by far. You know, believe me, I haven't revisited any of these to see if I want to. I'll just let them sit in my little 5-year-old's brain as being good. The reason, one of the reasons the people gave for making this movie, nobody else was doing anything with the property, and we had the rights. So, like, okay. So that was the Banana Splits movie.
Yeah, I guess if you have to do something with this IP, then turning it into a horror film is probably the most interesting, because this show was just garbage.
Oh, it's
even
crazy.
As a kid, I was like, I'm not watching this. This is garbage.
Yeah, no, this was one that never appealed to me. And I'm guessing Sigmund and the Sea Monster was simply because of that last word. Ooh, monster.
Yeah, that show is trash. All of those Sid and Marty Krofft shows are trash. We were fucking abused as children. Kids today don't have any idea how good they've got it right now.
Yep.
So did it have like almost like a Willy Wonka feel to it? Like all these kids are going in and they're expecting certain things, and then we see them get like punishments that are equivalent to their personalities, or like is it
Really? It was more akin to a slasher film.
Okay.
In that here's your characters going into the woods, but in this case the studio, and you know which ones are going to get gotten rid of, and they use that star trick as a clever way to get rid of a bunch of people and not have to kill off like 50 people in
yeah, sure.
4 minutes or something, so the story could go forward.
Did it feel like it was like a mid-budget film? Did it feel high budget? Like
it I mean, I know the director would never say this, but it felt like it had the budget it needed. All the Banana Splits characters looked really good. The kills were good graphics. I don't recall any. I don't think there were any CGI, or if they were, they're well done or subtle. But and all the actors were quality enough. Everything. It's 60% sounds high, but I actually don't think that's off too far for what the film is. If you're expecting, some amazing creation of artistic merit, it might fall short. But if you've even seen a commercial of the original guy, you know what you're in store for. And this does that justice.
So all of the Banana Splits are supposed to be robots then? Is that what's going on?
Yep. Yeah, they're all...
I feel like this... So the Five Nights at Freddy became huge, and then they started talking about a movie, and I feel like these guys were just like, oh, we've already got characters like this. We can make our own movie.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I think that's why they're like, well, we've got this property. Let's make it like that show. I think it's a better realized film than Five Nights at Freddy.
That was, awful. Okay, Eric, that means that this next subgenre is yours.
All right, let's keep it wide open spaces here. Graveyards, cemeteries, areas with at least a few people buried, not like maybe try to avoid like I buried my cat in the backyard.
Okay.
All right.
It's gotta be like actual cemetery with actual headstones.
Not a pet cemetery.
Yeah. There you go. Yes.
Okay, I like that idea. That seems to
sounds fun.
fall into the general genre that we talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting it nice and less stressful to Google.
Getting near October, let's ratchet up the horror.
Sounds awesome.
I can dig it. Okay, that brings us to the end of the show, where I would like to thank everybody for liking and sharing the posts, for leaving reviews on the YouTube page, or even if you are listening to this and you have not left a review on, is it still Amazon Podcast that needs to be on, or?
You can, any place you listen, you can leave a review. Apple Podcast tends to be
or Apple, I meant.
We're most listened to on Apple devices according to our crap they tell us.
Right.
But so that'd be good. But any place you listen to it, feel free to find where the review section is and have at it.
Yeah, leave us a nice review. You can also hang out with us on the Strange Eons Radio talk page. I noticed that Eric and Vanessa and myself are on there, and we respond to just about everything, even if it's just with the like button.
Yeah.
So get on there. I really appreciate that. You can always call us on the Strange Eons Radio hotline, which is 253-237-4266. All right, guys. That is it for the show. I think that we are going to be doing another Zoom episode before we get back to live recording.
Yeah.
But that's how it goes. We're all having a good time, so who cares?
Exactly.
So as far as that goes, guys, I think that's the end of the show, and I will see you next time. And the listeners in 7 short days.
Hey.
See you next Thursday. Transportation and other considerations for Strange Eons Radio produced by Pan Am Airlines. When you think of traveling, think of Pan Am. You can't beat the experience. Guests of Strange Eons Radio stay at Econo Lodge Everett. It's an easy stop on the road, you know what we mean. Strange Eons Radio is recorded live in front of a studio audience. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a positive review on your favorite podcast app. Sit, Ubu, sit.
I might as well waste time on the best version of the thing I'm wasting time on.